Mixing in key is one of the most fundamental parts of DJing. It's really important that you understand this concept because it can really elevate your mixes. In this video today, we're going to go through 5 examples from the basic fundamentals of understanding what sounds in key and how to mix in key, to giving you some really cool tips and techniques using looping, changing the pitch, using effects to create some awesome transitions. Let's go. Not so long ago, we did a video on Mixed in Key 11 Pro and you guys loved it. So as we're doing a Mixed in Key video, we have to use Mixed in Key 11 Pro. I'm going to show you some new features that have just been added, and then we're going to use them in the example mixes as well. So in Mixed in Key Pro, you now got this Pro tab, and in the previous video, we introduced this new mashup player, which is basically you load a song in and it will search your library for tracks that are in similar key that it thinks will work in a mashup. So when you load a track in and press test mashup, you can play around with these cue points. If you don't like that one, you can go to the next idea. And keep moving along. So it's definitely one of my favorite features inside of Mixed in Key Pro. However, they've taken it up a level. We now have stems, which is a new update. Not only that, the stems are built from the ground up, so are possibly the best stems out there. They are so almost perfect. If I just go click the stems button, go to the acapella of this track, you can hear how clean they are. You can check out the instrumental. Really, really nice. And then it goes even a step further. It gets even better. We can export now the instrumental, the acapella, and the full track. So we go to export button, and you can see here, you can just save them to a downloads folder. It will save the full track, the stems, and the instrumental. The next part is this change key. This is a new feature as well. So as you can see, as it's in mashup mode and we're testing mashups, it's adjusting keys on the fly. So this is moved from 3A to 8A, so it sounds better as a mashup. But the good thing is if we change this key, let's say we just move this from 8A to 6A, we want to, we like the acapella pitch down. We go to export again. And now you can see you can actually export it in the updated key. Really, really good for creativity. If you want to put this in a DAW like Ableton and start making your own mashups, or if you just want to throw them inside a Serato, Record Box, DJ, Tractor, you can just have the stem ready to go. And we're going to use that in a later technique as well. So as I mentioned, as you're playing these mashups, you can live change the key. Just to get some ideas going. And then what's happening is it's going through my whole library to get some ideas. Now you may have a huge library. So we've got a new idea filter here, which lets us customize how we want to make mashups. So we can choose an energy level, we can choose a tempo. So let's just select between 120 and 130. You can also choose playlists, which are my playlists down here. You can select a few of those as well. So if I just select a couple of playlists, save filter. So that's gone from 51 ideas down to 22. It gives us a bit of a tighter selection. Okay, let's get to the examples. First, we need to know why to mix in key, how to mix in key, and we use a tool called the Camelot wheel. And it's a way for DJs to be able to mix 2 tracks that are in key without having to know what F major is and C major, and having a big knowledge of music theory. We can just go and almost like paint by numbers. So here's the Camelot wheel on screen. Now you can mix adjacent to each Camelot wheel or one step in. So for example, this track here I've got Good Time is in 8A. So if I go one step down, that goes to 7A. If I go one step up, that goes to 9A. I can also mix in 8A with itself, or you can go across and you can mix to 8B. B. And this is reflective all the way around the wheel. So it keeps it very simple. You just go up or down a number or keep it the same, and it should sound pretty good. So that's the fundamental basics of mixing in key. But what does it sound like? Now, I'm not somebody who can really tell really quickly if a track is in key or not, especially when making mashups. So I need tools, and I've used the Camelot wheel since I started DJing. One thing that might help is just by listening to a track out of key and then putting it in key, so you can sort of train your ears to what sounds good. So I've got this track here, Prova House and Good Time. They are both in the same key. So we've got 8A and 8A. And if you're ever unsure and your DJ software isn't the most reliable at getting the key right, I've got this little feature up here which is called Mixed in Key Live. It lives at the top of my desktop, my screen here. What I can do is, if I'm unsure if this track is in key or not, I can just go to the track source. So find, show in Finder. Here it is. What I can do is I can just drag this onto the Mixed in Key Live tab here, and it's just gonna show me that, yep, it is actually in 8A, which is A minor, it's 126 BPM. And I would always trust Mixed in Key over any of your DJ software. It has the best technology out there. So let's listen to them in key first of all. So play these tracks together. So now what I'm going to do is, let's just put them out of key. So that's now well out of key. I'm sure you can tell that it just doesn't sound great at all. Moving it down. And only when you get it in key can you really tell. So fundamentally, this is the simplest way to create harmonically sounding mixes. So as we're approaching the end of this track, get our cue point ready, cue the track, we're mixing, and it doesn't get much cleaner than that. Super simple. And it keeps everything in a similar groove, and it's especially great when you're recording mixes, maybe to go on YouTube or for social media, that doesn't jar the audience when mixing two tracks together. The next example, we're going to keep it very similar again, super simple, but we're just going to go up one step on the Camelot wheel. So as I mentioned, using the Camelot wheel, you can go one up or one down, keep the same or go one across. So in this mix, you'll hear that we can mix the harmonics together while the tracks are playing, but it's not in the exact same key. So it sounds like this. So we're building up. You can see it all sounds pretty clean. Change the bass. Even though these two tracks are playing at the same time, nothing's clashing, nothing sounds out of key. We can slowly remove this track. So using the Camelot wheel, we could have gone one up, one down, or kept the same, or gone across to a B. We just went from 4A to 5A, and it just worked like the previous example. Very, very seamless. Now let's take it up a level with some quick power block mixing. Next technique is called power block mixing. This is where we take a bunch of tracks in the same or similar key, and we mix them really quick, high energy, and we're basically transitioning either every 15 seconds or 30 seconds, but we're using mixing in key to make sure that our transitions and our mashups are super seamless. So one great feature inside Mixing Key Pro is this DJ Mix tab. So I've loaded in some hip hop tracks here. It works great at 100 BPM for those open format DJs. So I've got some hip hop tracks here. I've put them in Mixing Key, and then in my idea filter, what I've done is I've set the tempo to the similar tempo, so between 80 and 100, and then I've just used my hip hop playlist, saved the filter. Now I've gone on to DJ Mix. So DJ Mix allows you to create a playlist, but the parameters aren't as tight as if you're creating a mashup, because we can be a bit more fluid with what tracks we select. Now the best part about this is, on the fly, as we're mixing and testing ideas, we can then save the playlist and export it into our Serato, and then we're going to perform a mix. So I've loaded in Chingy on the left hand side, and it's already suggested me Nelly EI. What I've then done is I've created a quick mixing playlist. So what I can do is, as we're testing out ideas, on the fly we can save the track to the playlist, and what it's going to do is then switch this track to the playing track, because it's giving us an order in a DJ mix. So to show you how it works, we're going to play through. So we'll test this mashup, test this DJ mix. So I love the way that sounds. So I'll click Save to Playlist. So as you can see, it's added in the Chingy track and the Nelly track, and it's suggesting that the next track could be Light Us Up. It's in a similar tempo. So if I press play, you can see the cue point is slightly off, but we can move it really quickly. We can just zoom in using our trackpad, and then just drag this cue point over there. And there it is. And we can test this mix. That sounds great. I'm going to save to playlist. Now we've got the next track suggested, which is Stunt 101. Again, sounds great. And it keeps everything in time. Save to playlist. And then we'll do one more. That sounds great. Save to playlist. And then we have our tracks. So this will be an example of power block mixing. I'm going to be using some stems to create some quick mashups and a really high energy DJ set. Don't trip off my people, just hop in the Regal. I swoop on her like an eagle, swoop down on the spray. I know you popular, but you gonna be famous today. I say I like the way you do that right. So we begin mixing in the track. I'm gonna use stems. So we just got the acapella playing. Get the next track ready. Echo out. Load in the next track. This one's got an acapella intro, so we're just using the acapella intro. Just the instrumental on this side. Let's use a dub echo to get rid of the instrumental. Get the next track. Start to mix in. Just get the vocal. Bring in the instrumental. Load in the next track. Again, let's use stems. Matching the BPM. This one's got an instrumental intro. We're just going to remove the instruments. Maybe add some echo. So as you can see there, power block mixing using a selection of similar tracks mixed really quickly using all of the features of this Flex 10, which we use in stems. We use some effects, add a little bit of scratching, and you can see how powerful power block mixing can be. Okay, the next technique is using a mashup, but we're going to take it a little bit further. We're going to create kind of a live performance, but first we need to test some ideas for mashups. So I'm back in mixed in key. I've just dragged in this pauser track, very recognizable track. Let's just get the instrumental so it's less distracting. Maybe 2 pauser tracks. Keep going. That sounds pretty good. Kind of a commercial club. So I like that. I think we can do something with that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to export the stems and drag them into our DJ software. Right, so we've loaded in our tracks, we exported them. What I've done is I've just set some cue points on the acapella. So we've got the acapella here. So I've got some cue points. Got some more up here. So I've just put them at some parts that I thought might sound good. And now what you can do is really get creative in terms of not just dropping a vocal over a track, but really live remixing. So we've got this track coming in. One other setting that I've added inside of Rekordbox is standard in Serato, but in Rekordbox, I've just gone to the controller here and I've just ticked this button here, during pause, gate playback is played. This just allows to play it like a piano. So when you lift your hand off of the cue points, it stops and doesn't continuously play. So as this track's building up, we can start to play with these hot cues. It's not right, but it's okay. I'm gonna make it. So we drop the acapella. Might be using some echo. Now let's get creative. So you can see you can really get creative and it's really easy to come up with ideas using the DJ mix function in Mixed in Key. Okay, for the final technique, we're actually going to pitch shift up a couple of semitones. So this is really good if you're trying to get to a different key, but the two tracks don't mix harmonically. So we can change the energy of a set. And one thing to note is there's a thing called energy boost mixing. And this is basically, if you go up +2 semitones, it really gives it, the dance floor, a different energy. We've talked about mixing in key and going up a step and up a step, or down a step, down a step. If you jump 2, something really sonically interesting happens. The mixed in key class this as energy boost mixing. I'll leave some links down below if you want to learn a bit more about energy boost mixing. But essentially you'll feel and hear the difference when you go up 2 semitones. So what's going to happen is there's going to be a few things going on. We're going to loop a vocal. We're going to use stems to get the vocal. We're going to loop the vocal. We're going to introduce a trans effect, and then we're going to drop in the next track. So we've got this remix here by Renegade Master. I've just took the vocal out for this example. So it's got a long kind of build up, and we want to use that to our advantage. So what we've got this track classic track from Avicii. So I'm going to remove the drums. What I'm going to do is set a 1-beat loop. We're going to come over to the trans effect, have it on 1 beat, open up our key shift. We've got our key shift open. We're going to go up 2 semitones. Sounds a bit crazy now, but once we have the trans effect, it starts to get a little bit more interesting. A little bit more interesting. If we go to a half beat, now it's sounding really, really nice. Then we can drop in our next track. We can play with the parameters. And that is a really, really cool, interesting technique. There's a lot going on there. Let's start again. So as this track's building up, we're going to use stems to our advantage. We've got our cue point set up here on the build up. We've got the trans effect set to 1 beat. And we're going to open up our key shift. And you can see the key shift is here. So we've got it on the right tone. So this track's building up. Just remove the drums first. Up in semitones. Hit the trans. Trigger our next track. Play with the parameters. And then remove the track. You could have even brought in the vocal. So there we have it. Go and check out Mixed in Key 11. I want to thank them for sponsoring this video. This was really fun to make and really dive into some really fundamental mixing techniques and then elevate it a little further on. So go and check out Mixed in Key Pro. The links are in the description. And if you didn't see the last video, you can check it out right now.